Dear Radiant Leo, did you know that your biggest win of the year, maybe even of your entire life, is already on its way to you? I'm not saying that to hype you up. I'm saying it because the cosmic energy aligning for you right now is undeniable. If you're here, watching this video, I want you to know, it is absolutely not a coincidence. You didn't stumble into this moment called you. Welcome to Eternal Mindfulness, where astrology isn't just prediction, it's remembrance. This is a space where the stars speak, where intuition leads, and where your soul gets the confirmation it has been quietly asking for. And Leo, from July 7th to 14th, the universe is preparing you for a major breakthrough, one that could shock everyone around you, but feel like home to the person you're becoming. You may have noticed the signs. Recurring numbers like 111 or 444. Restless dreams. That electric sense that something is building, about to burst forward. That's not just feeling extra. That's activation. And right now, the universe is activating you. Today's reading blends astrology, tarot, the law of attraction, numerology, spiritual energy, and vibrational color therapy to help you see the full map of what's opening in your life. Whether you've been grinding toward a goal, waiting for love to feel aligned, or wondering when your finances will finally reflect your value, this video will meet you exactly where you are, and show you what's coming next. But before we dive into your cards, Leo, let me take a moment to thank you deeply. Every like, every share, every subscription and heartfelt comment you leave here isn't just support, it's sacred. You're not just building a YouTube channel, you're helping expand a global energy field. You are a co-creator in the spiritual evolution we're witnessing right now. Thank you, from the bottom of my heart, for being part of the Eternal Mindfulness family. Your energy allows this work to reach more souls who are ready to awaken just like you. You didn't show up by chance. You answered a call. And your presence here is proof that you're ready for more. So stay with me until the end, because what the cosmos is revealing in this reading is nothing short of extraordinary. I'll be guiding you through each step, from the hidden planetary transits to the empowering messages from your guides. We're not just forecasting the future. We're reclaiming your power to shape it. If you feel a pull, a resonance, a spark that brought you here, take a moment and comment below to affirm it. Share what signs or feelings led you to this video today. Say, I am ready for my biggest win, and let's anchor your intention right now, together. Are you ready, Leo? Let's begin. You're not just walking, dear Leo, you are charging forward like a flaming chariot, pulled by purpose, fire, and something deep within you that refuses to settle for anything less than greatness. This isn't just a metaphor. It's the precise energy the universe is reflecting back to you now. When the chariot appears in a reading, it speaks of mastery through movement, not the chaotic kind, but the type of focused motion that only comes when you know exactly where you're headed and why it matters. The road ahead may twist, the terrain may rise and fall, but you are not being pulled randomly, you are steering this vehicle with fierce clarity and unshakable resolve. The Strength card amplifies this journey, not by urging you to push harder, but by inviting you to soften where fear used to live. It is a gentle lioness taming the wild within, not with control, but with presence. Real strength, especially for Leo, isn't about overpowering others, it's about choosing grace when ego wants to roar. It's the pause before reaction. The breath before a leap. The willingness to stay open-hearted in the face of uncertainty. There is a lesson here, subtle but transformative. The world follows those who lead from their center. And right now, you are being called to embody leadership through self-regulation, wisdom, and emotional authority, the kind that doesn't need to prove, only to be. Then, the Three of Wands comes in like a vision, an image of you standing at the edge of something vast and golden. This card doesn't whisper, it declares. You've done the work. You've planted the seeds, faced the storms, and now the horizon is calling. This isn't the time to doubt or delay. Your ships are coming in, perhaps not from the direction you expected, but they carry what you've longed for: validation, opportunity, recognition. What may have once felt like distant dreams are now within reach, not because they magically appeared, but because your frequency has finally matched the vision. In the celestial sky, July 9th and July 13th bring a rare harmony between the Sun, your ruling planet, and Jupiter, the planet of expansion, luck, and elevation. These aren't just good days. They're cosmic alignments engineered for forward motion. If you've been waiting on a contract, an approval, a message, or even a long overdue yes, consider these your divine timestamps. But don't just wait idly. Prepare like you've already received it. That is the essence of alignment, becoming before it arrives. There's also a more grounded layer here that invites introspection. Ask yourself honestly, are you working just to survive, or are you moving with the intention to influence, to elevate, to serve something greater than comfort? There's a teaching, subtle but enduring, that says if you act from fear, you will preserve your struggle. But if you act from courage, you will expand your impact. Your financial landscape may be asking for an update, not just in income, but in attitude. Where are you investing your time? Are your expenditures aligned with your long-term joy or short-term distraction? Practical steps can be sacred. Take a look at your current expenses. Not with judgment, but with curiosity. Is there a pattern that needs softening? Could you redirect even a small portion of what you give away each month, whether it's money, energy, or time, into something that restores your future self? You don't have to overhaul your life overnight. One brave decision made in clarity has the power to pivot your entire trajectory. You are not waiting for abundance to arrive. You are learning how to hold it. Not just in your hands, but in your nervous system. In your breath. In your choices. Like a river learns to widen its banks to receive more flow, you are expanding your capacity to receive, not with force, but with readiness. What you seek is already on its way, Leo. The only question left is, can you stand tall enough, still enough, soft enough, to let it in? When it comes to love, dear Leo, you were never meant to dim your fire just to keep someone else warm. You are the sun, after all, the center of your own solar system. And any relationship that asks you to orbit someone else's light, instead of shining in your own radiance, is one that deserves to be questioned. The cards that have shown up in this part of your reading, the Lovers, Queen of Wands, and the Ten of Cups, are not here to speak of drama or confusion, but of alignment, courage, and deep emotional fulfillment. They are inviting you to remember what love is supposed to feel like when it is true, conscious, and honoring of your essence. The Lover's card does not only speak of romance, it speaks of choice. It appears when we are at a threshold, when the heart must decide between what is comfortable and what is real. Sometimes this card points to a sacred union already in your life, ready to rise to a new level of truth and vulnerability. Other times, it signals the entrance of a soulmate, not a perfect person, but someone who meets you in presence, who invites you to become more of who you truly are. Either way, it begins with you choosing you. Choosing to live and love from a place of wholeness, not need. From connection, not dependency. From strength, not fear. The Queen of Wands then enters like a blaze of unapologetic fire. She is charismatic, radiant, magnetic, and she never asks for permission to be seen. She reminds you that your sensuality, your voice, your passion, and even your standards are not too much, they are exactly what make you powerful. In relationships, this card asks, are you leading from your center, or are you shrinking to fit into someone else's expectations? Are you compromising your light to avoid being too intense? This is your nudge to stop performing smallness in order to be loved. Because the love that's meant for you doesn't need you to be less. It asks you to be more. And then there's the Ten of Cups, the quiet, soft promise of emotional completion. This card is the exhale after years of holding your breath. It represents not only the happiness found in love, but the peace that comes from being with someone who feels like home, not a battlefield. But here's the secret, that version of love only shows up when you stop chasing it and start embodying it. When you live with the kind of integrity, joy, and gentleness that you want mirrored back to you. In truth, your external relationships will always reflect the one you have with yourself. Many people mistake love for clinging. They grip tightly out of fear that if they let go, they'll be alone forever. But love, real love, is like the sky. Boundless. Spacious. It does not demand that you disappear. It requires that you arrive, fully. There's a quiet teaching hidden in this, one that whispers, let go, not to lose, but to allow what's true to remain. And sometimes, walking away from someone who couldn't meet your light is the most loving act you can do for yourself and for them. So whether you are single, seeking, healing, or building a relationship right now, this moment is a mirror. If you're single, ask, have I made space for love to enter, or am I still holding the ghost of the past? If you're partnered, ask, does this connection nourish my soul, or simply keep me company? And if you're healing, remember, your wholeness is not something you need to earn back. It's something you reclaim by pausing, by breathing, by saying no to what hurts and yes to what heals. You don't need to rush. You don't need to chase. Just open. Just breathe. Just stay loyal to your light. The kind of love that changes everything, the one that sees you, meets you, holds you, is already making its way toward you. But first, it needs to see that you're ready to receive it, not by waiting, but by becoming. There are moments when something inside us, subtle, wordless, begins to rise. Not with noise or urgency, but with clarity. It feels like a golden warmth building quietly beneath the ribs, like the first rays of morning sun brushing across a still field. That's the energy we speak of here, the golden flame. Not fire that burns to destroy, but fire that illuminates, awakens, purifies. This week, Leo, that flame is being activated within you, not because you have to prove yourself, but because you've reached a stage in your journey where hiding no longer serves who you are becoming. The Oracle's message, power activation, and rise with purpose, is not a random affirmation. It is a direct invitation. You are being called to rise not from ego, but from essence. Not to show the world how big you are, but to show yourself how free you can be when you stop seeking validation and begin embodying your inner knowing. And that is no small task. It means releasing the grip on performance and returning to presence. It means shifting from self-doubt into self-trust, from postponing to initiating. The words, "I accept my greatness and choose to lead from the heart," might seem lofty at first, but look closer. Acceptance, in its truest form, is not passive. It is the result of seeing clearly and choosing to act anyway. It is what happens when we stop judging our readiness and simply begin. There's an old teaching that says, the seed does not ask permission from the soil. It just breaks open. That's what this energy asks of you now. Break open. Let the fire in you meet the sky. And yet, this rising doesn't need to be loud. It doesn't need to happen on a stage or with an audience. Often, the most profound activations occur in the quiet moments, when you're sitting with your journal, when you step outside and feel sunlight on your skin, when you catch your own reflection and think, "I'm proud of who I'm becoming." These moments are sacred. They are where the golden flame finds space to burn clean and strong. If you feel a sense of stirring an inner momentum that says it's time, then honor it. This is not about pressure. It's about permission. Give yourself permission to lead differently now. Not by controlling everything around you, but by mastering what's within. The power you're accessing is not force. It's alignment. It's the calm confidence that comes when your actions are in integrity with your values. When your yes is real, and your no is rooted. There is wisdom in simple practices that help anchor this fire in your daily life. Just 10 minutes of stillness in the morning can shift your entire day. Writing 3 things you're grateful for, not what you should be grateful for, but what genuinely warms you, can expand your capacity to receive more. Walking slowly, breathing deeply, moving with presence, these are not small things. They are how the flame becomes a fire that lights the way forward. You are not here to replicate someone else's version of leadership or success. You are here to embody the uniqueness of your own path. And the universe is not asking you to be perfect, only to be willing. Willing to show up. Willing to take one step. Willing to believe that you were not placed here by accident, but by design. Even the myth of Apollo reminds us, light is not always gentle. Sometimes it reveals things we've been avoiding. But only so we can choose again with clarity, courage, and compassion. There is a strength that arises when you stop outsourcing your direction and begin listening inward. This is your week to return to that place, the center, the core, the flame. And not just return, but rise. Not for approval. Not for applause. But because your soul has waited long enough. As you continue walking through this week's unfolding path, Leo, the sky itself becomes your mirror. On July 10th, a powerful alignment occurs. The moon in Scorpio forms a tense yet revealing angle to the sun in your sign. This is not simply a clash between celestial bodies. It's an invitation to pause and truly see. When Scorpio's emotional depth challenges the brilliance of Leo's solar energy, it's like a lantern being lowered into a deep well. You're no longer content to shine on the surface, you're ready to illuminate what's been hidden below. This energy doesn't ask you to fear the shadows, it encourages you to understand them. In moments like this, when tension arises between light and depth, clarity becomes a kind of spiritual discipline. What are you seeing now that you were unwilling to see before? Who around you supports your growth, and who subtly siphons your light? These realizations may not always be pleasant, but they are profoundly freeing. Because once seen clearly, the illusions no longer hold power over you. In many wisdom traditions, it is taught that true seeing arises not from the eyes, but from the silence behind them. What's most important is not what you perceive outside, but how honestly you're willing to look within. This is one of those rare weeks where your inner compass, your intuition, is more accurate than any plan. And just like a traveler trusting the stars, this is your moment to trust the quiet signals, a feeling in your gut, a chill on your skin, a thought that returns again and again. These are not distractions. These are direction. Numbers 2 carries subtle vibrations that ripple through your energy field. This week, the numbers 1, 4, 17, and 28 hold unique frequency signatures for you. The number 1 invites you to lead with clarity, to remember that every grand transformation begins with a single choice. The number 4 reminds you to ground your progress, to build with structure, patience, and focus. 17 speaks to divine support and inner resilience. And 28, with its rhythm of growth and release, reminds you that cycles are natural. What ends is simply clearing space for what's next. You might also begin to notice repeating number patterns like 111 or 444. These are not coincidences. They're quiet nudges from the unseen forces that walk with you, the guardians you can't name, but whose presence you felt in times of stillness. When 111 appears, it's a reminder to align thought with action. When 444 shows up, it is reassurance. You are protected, even if the path feels uncertain. You are not walking alone. Color, like sound, is vibration in form. And the colors that align with your energy this week aren't just decorative. They're supportive. Golden yellow, like the rays of your ruling planet, brings forward abundance, optimism, and the courage to be seen. Flame red reminds you to act boldly, to initiate without overthinking, and to return to your inner fire. And sapphire blue, deep and cooling, helps regulate the emotional intensity that this lunar configuration might stir up. It offers balance without dampening passion, a calm strength that allows your instincts to speak without distortion. Wearing or surrounding yourself with these colors, especially during key meetings, public appearances, creative rituals, or important decisions, is more than aesthetic. It's energetic alignment. It's the practice of consciously matching your environment with the frequency you want to embody. Just like how a monk might wear a robe to remind them of discipline, or a healer might use scent to attune a room, color can act as your silent ally, gently influencing your state of mind and emotional clarity. What this week offers you is not just a prediction, but a preparation. You are being calibrated for a fuller expression of who you are, someone who shines not just when it's easy, but when it's meaningful. Let the stars speak. Let the numbers echo. Let the colors hold you. And most importantly, let your inner stillness show you the way forward, one sacred step at a time. As your outer world begins to shift and expand, it's easy to overlook the most sacred terrain of all, your own body and mind. And yet, Leo, everything you are preparing to receive will only be as stable as the vessel that holds it. The more energy that enters your life, whether in the form of recognition, opportunity, or emotional depth, the more important it becomes to anchor that energy into a system that feels supported, not overwhelmed. You cannot pour from a cup that leaks. You cannot light the way for others if your inner flame is flickering from exhaustion. Right now, your nervous system may be more sensitive than usual. With so much cosmic movement, even subtle stressors can feel amplified. You might find yourself wired late at night, struggling to sleep even when you're tired. Or perhaps you notice a certain restlessness in your chest, like there's something asking to move, but you can't quite name it. These are signs that your inner fire is calling for regulation, not resistance. Like the breath before a roar, you're being asked to ground deeply before rising further. Begin simply. A glass of warm water upon waking, not cold, not rushed, invites the body into the day gently, like the first stretch of sunlight at dawn. Foods rich in magnesium and B vitamins, leafy greens, seeds, warm grains feed not just your muscles, but your emotional resilience. They help quiet the noise in your mind, softening the static that often drowns out intuition. And when you give your body this kind of nourishment, you're not just eating, you're listening. Movement, too, becomes a form of devotion. Not as punishment or performance, but as a way of honoring the energy that lives within you. Even 15 minutes of conscious motion each morning, whether through slow stretches, playful dancing, or intentional breathwork like the lion's breath, can completely shift how your day unfolds. You're not just activating circulation. You're reminding your system that it is alive, that it is safe, that it is in rhythm with something greater than fear. Just as you clear your physical space to invite peace, clearing your mental space is just as vital. Be discerning with what you allow in. Not all information is nourishment. Some is noise masquerading as relevance. Step back from news cycles that drain you, from social media spirals that lead nowhere. Silence, even in short doses, can be more clarifying than hours of scrolling. There is a quiet power in choosing not to react. In choosing stillness over stimulation. This is not withdrawal, it is discernment. Emotionally, this week invites you to practice something both tender and radical: inner praise. Each morning, before you meet the world, meet yourself. Place a hand on your heart, look into your own eyes if you can, and name one thing you admire about the person staring back at you. Not what you did, but who you are. This isn't vanity. It's healing. You are reminding the deepest layers of your being that they are seen, valued, and safe in your care. Set one small intention each day. Not to conquer, but to align. It could be as simple as, I will rest without guilt, or I will speak kindly to myself today. Track how these intentions land, how your body responds. Write them down in the evening beside a note about how you felt. This kind of self-honoring becomes the soil from which everything else grows. It's not about doing more. It's about being with what is, and choosing to respond with care. When we tend to ourselves with this kind of attention, we are not being selfish. We are acknowledging that true strength isn't built on force, it's built on balance. The brightest flames last not because they burn the fastest, but because they are fed steadily, and protected well. So as your external life begins to rise into its next chapter, make sure your inner sanctuary is rooted in the kind of peace that cannot be shaken by chaos. This is your quiet revolution, one breath, one boundary, one soft yes at a time. Leo, if you've made it to this moment still here, still listening, then something inside you already knows. You're not waiting for the world to give you permission to rise. You are the permission. You were never meant to be small. And all that you've walked through, all that you've endured in silence, in strength, in resilience, it wasn't wasted. It was preparation. Because the kind of victory that's approaching now, it isn't just a celebration. It's a revelation of who you've always been beneath the weight of doubt. Of who you become when you stop asking, "Am I ready?" and start declaring, "I'm here." There's a moment in every great story where the hero stops running not from the world, but from themselves. They pause, they breathe, they choose differently. And that one choice ripples outward, changing everything. Maybe this is that moment for you. Maybe this is the week you remember that the fire inside you isn't just passion, it's purpose. That your voice doesn't need to be louder, just truer. That the path ahead doesn't need to be easy, only aligned. So I ask you gently, Leo, what would shift in your life if you stopped negotiating with your own brilliance? What would unfold if you lived like your energy mattered? Like your dreams weren't optional, but necessary? These questions aren't meant to overwhelm you. They're meant to unlock you. Because deep down, you already have the answers. They live in the parts of you that show up even when no one claps. They live in your courage to stay soft in a hard world. In your ability to lead with heart, not just strategy. You don't need to burn out to be seen. You don't need to prove your worth through overwork or constant performance. Sometimes, your greatest power is in the choice to slow down, to center, to say no to what drains and yes to what nourishes. That's the new definition of success. Not how much you chase, but how well you choose. Remember the message from the start of this video: the biggest win of your life is on its way. And it's not arriving to inflate your ego, it's here to reflect your readiness. The universe doesn't reward noise. It mirrors clarity. And clarity, dear Leo, is exactly what you've cultivated by showing up for yourself, by doing the inner work, by listening more closely, and by daring to imagine that yes, you could have a life that feels like yours. If you're feeling that resonance now, if something in this message touched a truth you haven't spoken out loud yet, I invite you to affirm it in the comments. Tell me, tell the universe, tell yourself, I am the light, and I am ready. These words are not fluff. They are commitment. They are an energetic signature. They are a way of anchoring your intention into reality, so the next time life sends you an open door, you don't hesitate. And if this message stirred something in you, if even one sentence helped you breathe deeper, think clearer, or believe more boldly, please take a moment to like this video, share it with someone you love, and subscribe to Eternal Mindfulness so we can keep rising together, week by week, soul by soul. This is more than content. This is a community, and your presence here fuels its heart. The world may not be ready for your full light, but that doesn't matter. What matters is that you are. So go out there, Leo. Let them feel your fire. Not to impress them, but to remind them of what's possible when a soul finally returns home to itself.